So by now you have probably heard that Tim Walz, Kamala's running mate, that he signed into law a bill that went into effect January of this year that requires every public school boys' restroom in Minnesota to carry feminine hygiene products. Boys' restrooms, okay? This bill included boys' restrooms have to be stocked with free feminine hygiene products. That is the origin of the nickname Tampon Tim. Do not allow anyone to fool you into believing that the origin of the nickname is just that Republicans are TO'd at having to spend taxpayer dollars to fund free feminine hygiene products for women. No. This entire story is about the fact that we are funding feminine hygiene products for boys' restrooms in public schools in Minnesota, okay? And I want to be very clear on something. The reasoning behind this bill, or any similar bills, because it's not the only one, is so that your daughter can more easily go into the boys' restroom. So that your daughter can more easily go into men's restrooms. That is the entire purpose behind the bill, and any kind of bill like it. Because make no mistake, Tim Walz, Democrats, even hardline progressives, they understand that boys, natal males, are not menstruating. They get that in the same way that they get that men don't get pregnant. It's just that some women, under the delusion that they are men, can and do still get pregnant because your thinking doesn't affect your uterus. And so that is why progressives, Democrats will say things like pregnant people or men can get pregnant in order to pay what they think is reverence to women who are pregnant who believe that they're men. And it is the same thing here. There are some girls, many girls, in fact, many girls, all of a sudden in the past 10 years, almost like it's a social contagion, there are many girls, many more girls than boys, in fact, who believe they are the opposite gender. And of course, those girls still menstruate because your thinking does not affect your uterus, as we've already said. And they sometimes want to go into the boys' restroom and they might need a pad or a tampon, but they're not in the girls' restroom. So Tim Walz and other Democrats, other progressives have made sure to put these feminine products in the boys' restroom so that your daughters, oftentimes unbeknownst to you, can go into boys' restrooms, into male-only spaces, and feel more comfortable. So I'm going to leave aside the fact that none of us should be okay with our daughters or anyone's daughters voluntarily going into a male-only space, and moreover being permitted to willfully walk into a male-only space, especially in school. That is not safe. That is not wise. We separate genders for a reason. And I'm not even necessarily saying that the boys would purposefully do anything predatory. I'm just saying boys are boys. And what if your daughter sees something that she's too young to see or that she doesn't fully understand? Especially in a school where we have a bunch of different ages and a bunch of different hormone levels all using the same restroom. It is unsafe. And in fact, it is not ideal or safe for boys either. Young men and boys deserve male-only spaces away from females every bit as much as young girls and young women deserve female-only spaces away from males, especially again with raging hormones and those types of things. Separating out the genders in specific contexts protects boys just as much as it protects girls. So parents, administrators, teachers, educators in Minnesota should all be ashamed of themselves for failing to protect students, including not allowing girls to walk into boys' restrooms. But I'm going to leave that aside, like I said, okay? What I am going to point out here is that when it is the reverse, when it is a man under the delusion that he's a woman and wanting access to a female-only space, which, as I said, happens less often than girls thinking they're boys, but it dominates really our conversation around this topic, and I understand why, but it is less frequent. But when it happens that a man thinks he's a woman and wants access to, say, a woman's restroom, people like me will say, nope, that's actually not safe for the women who are there. And the first thing, without fail, the first thing that trans activists and allies will say is that, no, trans women aren't a danger to women. Trans women are women. And the people who are a danger to women are cis men, C-I-S, meaning cisgender men, which really just means men who actually comprehend the fact that they are men, okay, normal men. Trans activists and allies will be the first people to claim that trans women are safe for women to be around in these women-only spaces, but that cisgender men are not safe for women to be around. So would you please tell me why these same activists and allies are more than okay with your daughter, if she's under the delusion that she's a boy or she's just questioning her gender identity, why are they okay with her walking in to a male-only space with a bunch of cisgender males? Are males a potential threat to women or are they not? These people talk out of both sides of their mouths. They do not have any abiding principles or morals. Do not elect these people. And it goes well beyond tampons in restrooms, okay? Well beyond that. This is about a denial of reality, a denial of truth, lying to children, allowing children to be in potentially dangerous predatory situations. Do not elect these people. And I want to be very clear that in this video, I am not suggesting that every boy or man is a would-be predator. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am certainly saying that there are reasons why we separate out the genders in specific situations, and we should absolutely continue to do so, especially in schools. And the last thing I will say is that I am sick and tired of them framing this and every other issue as Republicans hate women and girls. Oh, look at these capitalist Republicans. They don't want to pay for women and girls to have free menstrual products. Actually, I love women and girls, which is one of the reasons I vote Republican. I love women and girls, which is why I'm conservative. I love women and girls, which is why I'm sitting around wondering why there are women and girls in other parts of the world, say women and girls in certain areas of India, who don't have access to pads, let alone tampons, and on their bleed days are forced to stay home and miss school and miss other outings and work and all of that. But in the US, which is the greatest nation the world has ever seen, but a little gluttonous, I think we can all agree there. In the US, we are having conversations and activism and signing bills so that we can give boys tampons and pads for free when there are women and girls in the world who have none at all and need them. And I'm not even saying that it's the US taxpayers' job to make sure that women the world over have access to feminine hygiene products, but I think and I hope we can all admit that this is a made-up problem. This is a first world problem. This is a very privileged conversation that we're having here when we are talking about and spending time signing bills to make sure that there are free tampons and pads in boys' restrooms. And more to the point, actually, I love women and girls so much that I don't want to lie to them, that I want to make sure that that girl who's walking into that boy's restroom thinking that she's a boy and she might need a tampon on the way, I want to make sure that that girl gets the help that she needs, which is more than a 25-cent tampon, by the way. That girl needs some actual help to understand that she is a female, that she is a girl, that she will always be a girl, that she will grow into a woman, and that there are an infinite number of ways to be a girl or a woman, and that just because you like boyish things or you don't like girly things, or maybe you actually like girls, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a boy. In fact, it for sure doesn't mean that you are a boy. I love women and girls so much that I don't want to lie to them. Can Tim Walz and the Democrats and Kamala and progressives say the same thing? Because I don't think they can.